What's up, good people? It's your boy Earl of Pearl. That's Cecil Shortsman, and welcome to another episode of the Ultimate 216 Show. Man, y'all know the vibes. The Ultimate 216 Show is brought to you by Living for We. Catch season 2 of the Living for We podcast. Keep your head up, hosted by Marlene Harris Taylor and Maisha Watkins every other Tuesday, presented by Idea Stream Public Media. Each episode takes you deep into the real life struggles of gun violence in the communities of colors, stories that don't always make the headlines. Make sure you subscribe today to the Living for We podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. They dropped an episode yesterday titled Something Greater Than Me, starring Stanley Frankart, who shared his powerful story about a moment in his life that could have gone in a completely different direction. One that where he could have been facing a murder charge, but it didn't work out that way. And now he is doing some amazing things in the community. So again, man, check out the Living for We podcast season 2. Good afternoon, my brother. How are you, man? How are you? How's the family?
Man, family's good on my nerves, as everybody probably understands, but they're good, man. Healthy, doing well. School's ending shortly in May. I'm not sure when things get out up there, but school will be ending in May, so everybody's excited for the summer. How about you guys?
Man, family as well. Family is healthy. School pretty much ends in May here. It's funny because me and you used to get out of school at June.
Yep.
Baseball season is about to start. The Guardians home opener, I believe, is next week. But as I always go and work the Cavs games, I see the renovations. We went to prom at Progressive Field. A lot of people don't know that. You know, our, our prom, our '06 Collinwood prom was lit. You know what I mean? We was out
Wow,
there.
memories, memories,
we
memories, memories.
Yeah, we was out there at Progressive Field, man. But listen, we got a lot to get into today. We're gonna end this show with a "Would you rather" scenario that I seen floating around on the internet. A lot of been talk has been made and talked about of what the Browns' plans are with the number 2 overall pick, but we haven't really had many discussions about what the Browns will do with pick number 33. But we started this show today with the news, of course, Shedeur Sanders. Is he or is he not a lock for the Cleveland Browns at number 2? Russell Wilson was a quarterback, a veteran quarterback that was in the fold for Cleveland. He decided to go play for the New York Giants. I think he signed a 1-year contract that can pay him up to $21 million. He get $10.5 million guaranteed. He's there, of course, with former Browns quarterback Jameis Winston. Before we even get into the Brown side of that, what's your thoughts on Russell Wilson making that move?
It's interesting. I would think at this point in his career he want to go somewhere and compete for a championship, and I'm
Mhm.
not sure the Giants are there yet. So to me, I think he's still hanging on. Like, let me get one good year in a place and prove I can still play at a high level, and then go somewhere on a contender and possibly be able to compete for a championship. But I was surprised. I was surprised. At this point in his career, I was thinking he could go somewhere, maybe it's Pittsburgh again or somewhere else and compete. But I think Father Time catches up to everybody, man. And
Mhm.
he is not the same guy he was in Seattle. He was decent in Pittsburgh. Honestly, if I'm Mike Tomlin, I wouldn't have made the switch. So kudos to Mike making that switch. I'll say kudos. He had the balls to make the switch. Because in my opinion, I think they were 5-2 with Justin Fields, and he was coming along and getting better and learning. But there was things that I guess Justin wasn't doing that Russell can do better. So I thought it was interesting. He's definitely the starter though. Like $21 million, that's not a backup. That's somebody that's starting, right? So I think on Russ, thinking about Russ going there, he's one, and then I guess Jameis is two, with DeVito being three, and we'll see what happens in the draft.
I know, man. Me personally, if I'm Malik Neighbors, I would probably prefer Jameis Winston over Russell
Whew.
Wilson to be the
Yeah.
starting quarterback. The one thing about Jameis is, man, he gonna feed that wide receiver the ball, and we don't know. We can't really say the same thing about Russell Wilson at this point in his career. I thought that was an interesting move, which leads to more discussions about the Cleveland Browns and their plans at number 2 with their quarterback situation. As it stands right now, today at 5:15 p.m. on the 26th of March. Kenny Pickett is still the only quarterback on the Cleveland Browns roster for 2025. My question to you is simple. Does the latest moves around the NFL make you believe that, Shedeur Sanders is the lock at 2? keep in mind, all signs are pointing to Cam Ward going number one overall to Tennessee.
Cam Ward, Cam Ward, excuse me, he killed his pro day the other day. I mean, and you expect that, right? You expect a guy um, of his caliber, any quarterback pro day to go out there and do well. It's scripted. It's set up for him to succeed, and he looked really, really good. I think, like you mentioned, it's solidified. He's number one. Period. Of course, Tennessee will put out there, oh, we'll take all offers. Of course, if somebody gives us something crazy, they'll take it, right? But
Mhm.
if not, he'll be number one. I think with the moves that you mentioned, with Russ and Jameis going to New York, it sounds like Aaron may be going to Pittsburgh. It sounds just how things are going, and there's not many people left in the market, if any. Um, that Shedeur will be number two, and I think the city needs to get ready. Get ready for Shedeur Sanders to be your quarterback, and it's not a bad thing. Is he? People talk about the flaws a lot. For me, I'm just excited if this happens because of the head knowledge that he has, the IQ that he has, where he came from. Like, it sounds crazy because he's Deion's son, but he has always been the underdog. He went to Jackson State, was facing scrutiny there. Why did he go to Jackson State? He's one of the top quarterbacks coming out of high school. Scrutiny all through there. Followed his dad at Colorado from I think they were 1-11 or 1-10, 1-9 the year before. Won some games, and then this upcoming year, this past year, excuse me, won 9 games and almost made it to the Big 12 championship. So for me, somebody that knows how to build, somebody that's not scared to come to a place where the weather is not the brightest, the weather is not the sunniest. Coming to a fan base that's loyal, that cares about their team, and is going to give it all. I'm excited about it, but it seems like that's the only way you can go now. There's no way you can go in there with only Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I agree
There's
with that.
no way.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I talked to a guy named Brian Howell Saturday when I was co-hosting on 92 Through the Fan with Spencer German, and he writes for the Colorado Buffalo, and just wanted to get some more insight on what he thought about Shedeur Sanders, and he alluded to Shedeur Sanders leading those Colorado Buffalo teams to John Elway leading those Broncos teams in the late '80s. He felt like
Mm,
that the play of John Elway elevated those Broncos teams to look better than what they actually were. And he felt like that's what happened, in particular this past season with the Colorado Buffalo with Shedeur Sanders at the helm. We had Greg Cosell, the GOAT, on our show earlier today, and he talked about Shedeur, just having this elite pocket passer ability. And in a league where, quarterbacks need to extend plays, etc., if you're going to be a pocket passing quarterback, you have to have elite intangibles. And you've spoken to it a bunch. I've spoken to it. Everything above the shoulders for Shedeur Sanders checks out.
yeah.
He knows exactly what to do at the line of scrimmage, pre-snap, post-snap. He's good at reading the defense. He has those unwritten intangibles when it comes to leadership ability. So he has the traits necessary to be a productive and solid, serviceable NFL quarterback. He has weaknesses, and I think his weaknesses are things that can be worked on with coaching. And you look at the situation and how everything, to me, in my opinion, would make this a perfect marriage. Musgrave was upgraded to the quarterback coach, and that is a guy that Deion Sanders trusts, and I believe that's a guy that he would trust his son with. You look at the relationship that he has, he being Shedeur Sanders with Pat Shermer, and Brian Howell spoke to this, how they're always in the meeting rooms together, how Pat Shermer is always challenging him to be great and preparing him for what he's going to see at the NFL level. And then those two having those conversations about the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski, his style, his system, etc. I think that blind faith has been gained by all parties involved. That if the Browns were to select Shedeur Sanders, I think his dad is cool with it. I think Shedeur himself, he's already uber confident that he can come in here and turn this situation around. I think he's good with it. And I think if he balls out, I think the fan base would be good with it as well.
Oh man, you already know the fan base is going to be all in. You guys were talking about earlier on the show about when Baker Mayfield took over that Jets game, like
Mhm.
and I wasn't all in on Baker. I think you said you were
I were. I
earlier.
was. I was.
I wasn't. I wasn't on Josh Allen, but I was on somebody else. I can't remember who else came out at the time. I just
Was you a
wasn't sold
Rosen
on
guy?
Baker. I was a Rosen guy.
You was a Rosen
And I
guy.
failed. I failed.
Ooh wee.
I failed. I failed. But he is somebody that's so confident that's going to come in here and be a true leader. There was moments last year where they'll go behind the scenes, like his brother got the camera. They're going behind the scenes. You see different things on IG and social media where he's calling out Travis Hunter, or he's
Mhm.
calling out different guys on his team. Like, hey, you want the ball or not? Like, hey, what? Like, I'm coming to you like this, talking to him. Like, you see the leadership that's like oozing out of him. I think he's the perfect quarterback for Stefanski. He's a pocket passer. He's accurate. He's smart. He knows where to go with the ball. If need be, he can get out the pocket and find the open guy, which he's done multiple times there in Colorado. But he is a guy that fits the mold of what Stefanski wants to do.
What do you think his biggest Achilles heel is?
Ooh, I think. Ooh, you put me on the spot here. It's a good question. Um, I'm not going to say arm strength because to me, you get the ball out quickly. I think it's for him is going to be, and honestly, his pocket presence to me is good. He's had a terrible offensive line last year. There was moments where he kind of forced things. There is moments where he holds the ball a tad bit too long. But for me, I think that was because he was trying to force things, trying to make plays. He knew he had to make a play for that team to be successful. I think there's a lot of things I could say about him in a negative light, not in a negative light, but things he got to work on. But I
Mhm.
think, like you mentioned, those are things he can improve on. He would never impress anybody with his speed, arm strength, his frame. But what he's so good at is everything else that matters, right? Like everything that matters. Him getting the ball out quickly, him being accurate, him knowing the play, knowing the defense, knowing the scheme, knowing the hot route, understanding what the defense wants to do, moving in the pocket, right? Understanding, okay, let me slide here, let me slide there. I think his Achilles heel, if I'm honest, may be himself. Like, don't fall into the realm early on as a rookie, and be too much about yourself, if that makes sense. That'll be the only thing I say. Like, don't be too much about yourself when you're coming in, and he'll be. And I'm not saying he will be, but it'll be a lot of it'll be a lot of popularity. It'll be a lot of things going on around him, and he has to stay focused and understand. Hey, I'm a rookie. Don't go in that locker room thinking I'm big time because guys can take it the wrong way. And then as you get better and as you perform and as you compete and as you show what you can do, then you start unleashing some of the stuff out there, right? Or start truly speaking up in different manners. But I think he's somebody that can be really, really a solid player. I don't know if he'll be an All Pro. I don't know if he'll be, next Tom Brady. I don't Drew Brees or whatever. But I do think he'll be a very solid quarterback. I can see him being a perennial Pro Bowler. 3, 4, 4, 5 time. I can see him being a solid starter to help this team really get on track.
What was my next question to you? Before I ask you my next question, man, to everybody that's out there, we got 106 people watching live. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all
Oh,
smash
much
that
love.
like button and jump in the comments. Y'all tell us what y'all think. It's looking like Shedeur Sanders. Not saying that it is a lot, but it's looking that way. And at this point through the process, where are you with it? Like, are you cool with it? Is it something that you can live with? You heard Cecil say, man, he might not be an all pro, but he might be a perennial pro bowler. Is that something that you can get behind? You mentioned his frame, right? And it made me instantly think about Jaden Daniels. Like Jaden Daniels don't have the biggest frame. Now he has other skills and other attributes about him that's by far better than what Shedeur Sanders brings to the table. But
Correct.
you don't hear his frame really being spoken of a lot in a negative light as you do one Shedeur Sanders. Why do you think that is?
Mobility, the his opportunities that he'll have to make guys miss, and how elusive he is, because he can, similar to Lamar, not comparing the two, and not saying he's like Lamar, but those guys can make guys miss and don't get hit. So even though you have a slight frame, you're able to get down, get out of bounds, make a spin move, make a guy miss, and then get down, and you're still able to protect yourself. So they won't get hit as much. I think that's the mindset. They won't get hit as much as a guy like Shador, who can't really do the elusive things that the Jaden Daniels and et cetera other guys can do. But once he learns, I think Shador really needs to learn, continue to learn, move that. This Sorry, continue to learn how to move in the pocket, where his protection is, stepping up, sliding to the left, sliding to the right, throwing his check downs. Once he really gets in the habit of doing that, he'll be fine. And of course, he gets the ball out extremely quick. That's one thing that made Tom Brady and Drew Brees so good, especially when Drew Brees got older. Drew Brees couldn't throw the ball deep. Drew Brees could not throw the ball deep, but he lasted another 3 years because he got the ball out quickly. Right? He could still throw a go ball, just get it out quick, catch, throw it 30 yards down, 35 yards down the sideline. That's still a deep pass. Your guy can go up there and catch it and make a play. So it's about getting rid of the ball quickly. That's something Shedeur can do really good.
Last question on this before I get to some of these comments. As a former NFL wide receiver, when people talk about arm strength or lack of arm strength, as a wide receiver, are you more concerned about a quarterback's arm strength or how accurate he is getting you the football?
Accuracy all day long. Because if you can throw it a mile, but you can't hit the side of a barn, it don't mean nothing to me. If you can't throw a rock in the ocean, they don't. You know what I mean? Like look at my frame. I'm 6 feet, 200 pounds. If you can't throw it in my realm, I gotta save you every single time. I'm not gonna like you as my quarterback. I need you to help me. You need to put it in the right spot, and I'll go help you out. You got me? So if you're accurate, I'll take that all day long over arm strength. Because a lot of guys that have the crazy arm strength, they throw the ball way too hard anyways. I'll run a 5 yard shallow route, and he's throwing as hard as he can. It's like, no, no, no. We work together. We're on the same team here. You want me to catch the ball,
It,
put
it
some
may
accuracy and
be
touch on it.
it made me think about your game-winning touchdown that you had against Indy. I think the one that went like over 80 yards. It seemed like
Mhm.
that was a timing pattern.
Yeah.
Like you and your QB was on the same page, and because of the timing of that, everything that you seen on TV made it look a whole lot more crazier than what it probably actually was out there.
But the crazy part about that, he was like, I knew I was coming to you the whole time because it was a timing route. He took his 3 step drop, 1, 2, 3. He looked the safety off and he came back and threw it. I wasn't even looking. If you see the ball, I caught the back hand of the ball, the back end of the ball because it was a timing route, like you said.
Right.
So he 1, 2, 3 to the left and put it in the spot because it was cover two. I was in the right spot. He put it right there and we off to the races.
All right, let's get to some of these comments before we move on to our second topic. Chris Swim, shout out to you, Chris, man. And he said they went to Florida today to meet with Cam Ward. That's making me think Shedeur is not a lock. Is it a due diligence or what you think?
It's definitely due diligence, and I think just being honest, if I'm the Browns and I have Cam Ward above Shador, I'm calling Tennessee to say, what does it take to get Cam, right? And if it's too
Mhm.
much, you got to do. If it's too much, okay, thank you, boom, hang up. We still like Shador, we'll take him. But you got to do your due diligence. If he's a guy that stands out to you that you love, it's like, oh my gosh, we can't miss it. Then you need to do what you got to do to get him. But you got to do your due diligence. That's part of the business. I'll be upset if they didn't meet with them one on one and check them out and get a feel for them. That's what you do when it comes to when you have those hot picks and you
Big
need a
facts.
quarterback.
Big facts. Hayes Nash says, per Adam Schefter, the Browns are leaning towards taking Abdul Carter at number two. What you think about that?
I don't like it. Not that Abdul's not a great, could be a great player,
Mhm.
but who's gonna be throwing the football? Like unless you go out there and get like to me, you have to get a quarterback in the situation you're in now. Unless Kirk Cousins come or the fake rumor of Dak Prescott, whatever it is, you got to go get a quarterback. Otherwise, you got Kenny Pickett back there. So I don't care who rushing the passer. Kenny Pickett's not good enough, in my opinion. No offense to him, to lead your team to 12, 13, whatever wins to get in the playoffs and go deep. So to me, I love Abdul Carter. I think he's probably the best athlete in the draft, one of the best players in the draft for sure. But this doesn't make sense for what's going on right now.
Rick Atwell says, okay, with Sanders, need a running back, tight end, and a wide receiver. Yeah, we'll get into some of these later round picks here in a minute. Michael Mills, what's up to you, man? Shout out to you. He says, I believe we have to try and get the best available quarterback. Trading back is punting the ball to next season, and the only way to get a good quarterback next year would be to tank this upcoming season.
Mm,
I don't think the Browns is in the business of tanking. I think the
mm.
Browns are going to they're going to attempt to put together the best 2025 campaign that they can. How successful or what that looks like, I don't know. I know a lot of people seem to believe that, AB and Kevin Stefanski, they have this year and this year alone to get things turned around or they lose their jobs. I guess it all depends on what Jimmy Haslam's expectations are for both of those dudes uh, this year. That's just, how I see it. What's up?
What's your thoughts on that? Is this if they say they win 9 games this year? Is AB and Stefanski coming back?
If they win 8 or 9 games this year, are they coming back? Right now, today, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I just, and I could be totally wrong. Again, I was a guy that felt like they both should have been relieved of duty and the Browns should
Mhm.
have just started fresh, but they didn't. And the more that we get into this process, it just seems and sounds like Jimmy Haslam really trusts Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, and he's willing to ride the wave with them. And I think this is either Jimmy getting old, this is either Jimmy growing, or I don't know what this is. But at the same time, if things kind of look absolutely horrendous, then we can be having a whole different conversation about that. So we're gonna put a cap on that right now, man. You can get more of the Shedeur Sanders talk tomorrow morning on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, flagship show. Don't forget to check that out. Make sure you smash the like button. Tell a friend, subscribe. We got some things in play for you all, man. We looking for a venue right now to bring you all a fire draft show on draft day. As we move on and we talk about what the Cleveland Browns are going to do with pick 33, it is a good time to let you all know that this episode of the Ultimate 216 show is also brought to you by March Madness. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. The FanDuel app is simple to use. When I win, I get paid instantly. No waiting around. As I told you all before, I always take advantage of the boost that FanDuel has right now, 25% profit boost on all Cleveland Cavaliers bets throughout the month of March. The Cavaliers are back at home on the court tomorrow night versus the San Antonio Spurs at 7 p.m. So, man, we spent a lot of time talking about what the Browns going to do at 2, and me and you were talking off air about the Browns' plans with their second round pick, and just looking on NFL.com, I found a 4 round mock draft, and we wanted to talk about where they had who they had the Browns taking, and then some of the players that's going to be in the mix that we think the Cleveland Browns should draft. Let me start with you here. Do you have somebody that sticks out to you as a guy that you look at as, okay, I gotta have him on in the second round? Somebody that you feel like, okay, would be a good fit to address another position of need.
This is tough for me because all right, we talked about Shador going 2, right? So you can take
Mm-hmm.
quarterback at 2. A rookie quarterback's best friend is a great offensive line and a run game. So for me, I'm going tackle or running back at 33. Now, if there's like a if there's like a say a run of running backs are coming off, which I doubt, right? Because my favorite running back in the draft probably is, I like Genty, but I like the kid from North Carolina. I like the kid from North Carolina. I like the kid from Iowa, like you. What's the kid from Iowa's name? Caleb Boyd.
Caleb Johnson.
Caleb Johnson. I think Johnson can get picked up in the third round, fourth round, right?
They got
But
a
if we,
mock right now to the 3rd round. And actually, for Browns fans that like
oh, to the
Caleb
Browns.
Johnson, yeah, for the Browns fans that like Caleb Johnson, man, drop a one in the comments if you like this. They have Caleb Johnson mocked to the Cleveland Browns in round 3. That is pick number 67.
I love that. I love that. See, if that's the case, I would love to go guard or tackle. I want as much protection for my quarterback as possible. So I'm going to take
Mhm.
the best offensive lineman that is. If that's Josh Simmons from Ohio State, who I like a lot, if he
Mhm.
falls to the second round, if that's Josh Connerly Jr. from Oregon, if he's there, if Tyler Booker, a guard from Alabama, if he drops down to the second round, I'm taking the best offensive lineman available because I want that room to be competitive. I want that room to be really good in protecting my quarterback and be able to run the football. You can find a good running back in 3 rounds, 3, 4, whatever. But I really want to. I would go offensive guard or tackle. What about
Yeah,
you?
when I look at the tackles that's available at the top of the 2nd round, those are dudes, in my opinion, man. They can really compete to be starters
Yes,
on day
absolutely.
one, especially Simmons, man, from Ohio State. Uh, I hear you, but I'm gonna go a different direction here. For everybody that wants Abdul Carter in the 1st round, I got the Browns taking Shedeur Sanders. This is the guy I want. Give me national champion. Give me that
Okay.
Ohio State Buckeye Jack Sawyer, right?
Okay.
You look at
Okay.
the numbers from last year compared to the career. He had 9 tackles for loss last year, 9 sacks. He 7 pass deflected, 23 sacks in his entire collegiate career, 29 tackles for loss. I just think the dude is a natural born leader. I think he's a dude that works hard. I think he's another cat that has a lot of those unwritten intangibles. I think he's a warrior. I think he just fits this gritty, like hard working mantra that you want to have in the AFC North. I think he fits well with the city of Cleveland. And I think he's somebody that fans here in the city will get behind. He's very, very passionate. He brings it on the football field and he brings that leadership in the locker room. And to me, you get that guy, you throw him in the mix opposite of Myles Garrett. You got Mike Hall Jr. in the middle. You still got guys like Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright, etc. He's not to the level of an Abdul Carter when it comes to the recognition and the notoriety. But if you paid attention to the Ohio State Buckeyes over the last 2 or 3 seasons, man, Captain Jack, number 33, that dude show up and he shows out, man. He just brings that next level of grit, passion, heart, leadership that you want. And he can play linebacker, he can play edge. And when I just think about adding other guys that can bring it on the football field and in that locker room, especially when it's looking like that Jock might not be available, Captain Jack, man, sign me up all day long for number 33.
I like that pick. I like that pick. I think you can do some things, especially in the AFC North. You got Lamar, you got Joe Burrow. You got to get pressure on those quarterbacks to really try to get those wins. I'm gonna ask you this though: if your favorite receiver drops to 33, are you taking him, or a guy that you really like? Because you got Judy, who is a guy that stepped up last year. But if a receiver comes in as you love, would you take him at 33 over Sawyer?
I would. I
Mm.
would. Like, if I'm being honest, what's the cat name from Mizzou? Is
Oh,
it
Luther Burden the
Luther
third.
Burden? Him.
Yeah.
That dude right there is a baller. Again, this wide receiver class, they don't get talked about a lot, man. But if you just turn on the tape and you go back and you watch some things, man, I think that's a cat that I would really, really consider
Yeah.
with pick 33. But if I'm trying to get inside Andrew Berry's head, he's gonna draft a wide receiver in this draft like he does every year. But it's probably gonna be a dude rounds 3 through 5, and probably a cat that we never heard of. Like, I'm gonna be honest, at the time that they drafted Anthony Schwartz, I did not know who Anthony Schwartz was. Last year when they drafted Jamari Thrash, I did not know who Jamari Thrash was. Maybe that's bad job on me as a guy that's in this business, but I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I don't know everything about every single person. So
Nobody did. Yeah.
if Andrew stays the course, there's gonna be another wide receiver um, that we gonna draft that we don't know. Big J Bone says Sawyer is more like Sam Hubbard. I seen another comment that says DB Dog 21 says Sawyer's
Oh.
motor is CJ Watt ish. Listen,
Oh.
I think that I wish Malik McDowell didn't have his mental meltdown. I think anything Sam Hubbard or TJ Watt ish, I can get down with that. He also says Luther will be gone, unfortunately, but I agree. Uh, Actually, this mock draft here. So I'm looking at a mock draft from the 21st of March, and this is from Chad Reuter of
Okay.
NFL.com. And he had Josh Connery Jr. from Oregon mocked to the Browns at 33, and Luther Burton actually going to the Tennessee Titans with the 35th pick
Oh wow.
in the second round. So you, as projected, they'll get their quarterback in the first round. They get him a weapon in the second round. I don't know. Now I guess with Sawyer with the tackle and Burton all on the board, which way do you go here? Do you go
Ooh, that's
wide
tough.
receiver? Like chat, y'all let us know, man. Y'all being engaged.
That's tough.
If that's the
Ooh.
situation, are you going tackle? Or are you going pass rusher? Or are you going wide receiver? And this is with the thought process that the Browns have solidified the quarterback position with their second pick.
See, this the thing too. I think you got two third round picks, right? You got one first, one second, two third, one fourth, and then a bunch of six and one seven. So if you really, really wanted somebody, like say a running back falls in the draft, and you like, you know what? Let me hop back in the first at 32 and go get this guy, right? Or you know what? Let me package some of this third round. Let me give somebody a third rounder and my second rounder to go up and get whoever, right? I wouldn't be against that. I wouldn't be against that. I'm all for aggressive moves to go get a guy that you love, especially a guy. Because in my opinion, I've heard a bunch of GMs say like number 20, a guy that's going like 23rd or 25th in the draft,
I
and
heard
like
this.
57
I
are
heard
basically
this.
all the same. They're
Yeah, I
basically
heard the same
all the
thing.
same. They're all rated the same way. So it's like, cool. If you love a guy, go trade him and go up and get him. If he can be a playmaker, because you're getting a guy in the first round and second round, even third round, those guys are competing for starting spots. So if you can get a guy to come in and compete, whether that's at a receiver, a tackle, a running back, a defensive end, that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, so just a couple of other picks that's around in a second. Again, they got a second D tackle from Oregon. Other notables, Josh Simmons, the D tackle that you like from Ohio State. They got him going 38
Him a
to
lot.
the New England Patriots. JT Tuamalo from Ohio State, the edge rusher. They got him going to Chicago with pick
Hmm.
number 39. And then what's his name? Tyleek Williams, the defensive tackle from Ohio State. Another notable, they have him going to the 49ers at pick 43. Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle from Michigan, they got him going to the Jets, a pick ahead of him. Another cat that I like, I think the Browns could probably use another tight end. I don't know if addressing that position in round two makes sense, but Mason Taylor from LSU is a tight end. I feel like it's a playmaker. So there's going to be some guys there in the second round that you can take a look at and address other positions of need. We could take a look at the third round too while we having this conversation. Again, they had Caleb Johnson, the running back from Iowa, mocked to the Cleveland Browns at pick
Oh, I would love that.
67.
I would love that.
Uh, so then they got Trey Harris, the wide receiver from Mississippi, going
Good
two
player.
picks later to the New England Patriots. So, to me, you end up with either a Jack Sawyer or offensive tackle in the second round, and then you get you a running back in the third round. I can rock with that. I know a lot of our fans that's watching this show would like to get a wide receiver, but you actually told me you had an idea for a guy that could be a sleeper free agent pick in a wide receiver class that's not that deep. That will make a lot of sense for the Cleveland Browns.
I do. He's an older guy. He's been around a long time, but he is the type of guy, Tyler Lockett, who I'm talking about. He's the type of guy that is savvy and can really help your young quarterback and the younger guys in that room. He knows how to get open. As you see the stats, 61 career touchdowns, 8,000 plus yards, a bunch of receptions. He is reliable. He knows how to get open. He was even getting open last year. But when you bring in like a JSN, you have a DK Metcalf, he's kind of slipping down to the number three guy. But he is somebody that can get open. He is somebody that's going to help Shedeur or whoever that young quarterback is, even a veteran quarterback. Say it's Kenny Pickett, say it's Kirk Cousins. He can be a guy that fits in Stefanski's system, just in the slot, knows how to get open, be in the right spot at the right time. Older guy, he's not going to be there long term, 1, 2 years max, but he can help the younger guys develop. He can help a Cedric Tillman. He can help
Jamari Thrash.
a thrash, right? He can help those guys develop and learn how to be professionals, how to be pros, and really elevate their game. So I think he could be a sleeper guy that can help out the Browns for the future.
I wouldn't be opposed to the move at all, man. You get a guy like that in the building that does nothing but good, right? Jerry Judy solidified himself as a dog last year. Of course, he got to come back and back it up this year. Cedric Tillman, in the few games that we did see him play, he made some noise. He missed a lot of time with that concussion. That is something that's concerning. But he'll be out there hopefully healthy at the start of all the OTAs and things like that, and we'll see what he can bring to the table. A guy that I am still high on personally is the guy one Mike Woods. And I know Mike Woods. He finally got an opportunity to play in some meaningful games last year, man. But I just think that if he can earn a spot in camp and continue to work hard, he can get an opportunity to show what he can do. He's a big kid with some speed that can move, and I just feel like him. Tillman. I like Jamari Thrash. I jumped in a Twitter space with some of the off the clock boys. Shout out to the off the clock. They had cornerback Greg Newsom was in as a guest,
Oh, nice.
and they asked him about, a rookie that showed some flash last year, and the first name he said was Jamari Thrash. Jamari seemed like he got some dog in him, and so and he seems like his game is a little similar to Tyler Lockett as
Lock
well.
it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would not be opposed to that move at all, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think. What should the Cleveland Browns do with their pick 33 in the second round? And then, do you like the move of Caleb Johnson being mocked to the Cleveland Browns with the third round pick? Listen, man, we ran over, but we got it on the docket, so we're gonna go ahead and give y'all about 4 or 5 more minutes and just get this last topic out the way. Don't forget, man, subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel, man. Hit the like button, tell a friend to subscribe. Make sure you catch the flagship show Monday through Friday, 11 to 1 p.m. Of course, on Fridays, we rock 11 to 12:30, 12:30 to 1 on Channel 3, man. Again, make sure you tell a friend. So I seen this question floating around on the internet, and I figured me and you can just have a couple minutes to have some fun with it. Ask the chat the same thing and see what they say. The question was, would you trade the Cleveland Cavaliers 2016 NBA championship for a Cleveland Browns Super Bowl win? I don't know where you stand before you answer. I'm going to say, hell no. I'm going to say it again. Hell no. Absolutely not. I'm not trading one for the other at all. I think the 2016 championship, it was special for a lot of different reasons. The Cleveland Cavaliers knocked off what was going to be the most historic run in NBA history
Mm-hmm.
by the Golden State Warriors. And then when you consider the LeBron James factor and his stardom, it just always made sense to see him get that job done and win a ring here in the city of Cleveland. I think when you talk about the Cleveland Browns winning the Super Bowl, that's amazing, but it's more of a Cleveland Browns thing. That was more of a, man, LeBron James was drafted first overall. He's from Northeast Ohio. He led the Cleveland Cavaliers to an NBA championship, because even if the Browns had broke that drought, you would still want that NBA championship, knowing that everything that came with the hype, the expectations, and then just everything that goes along with it. So I would never trade off the 2016 NBA title for the Super Bowl. And then another part of that, me and you talked about this, that happened on Father's Day. And as a father, that's like one of the best Father's Day gifts that we got, that
Mm-hmm.
we can't say we expected. I still need that Super Bowl, though. Don't get it twisted. I still need that.
I'm with you. There's no way I'm giving that up. Down 3-1, the greatest comeback in NBA history ever, against one of the best teams to ever play, in that Golden State Warrior team. And to me, that moment meant so much to the city of Cleveland. It means so much to everybody that's from Cleveland. It means so much to everybody that's a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers. You can't take that moment away. Like, that was incredible. If you can ask any Cleveland Cavaliers fan, anybody that's from Cleveland, where were you at that point in time, they're going to tell you exactly where they were watching the game. Unbelievable moments in that game you will never forget. The Kyrie shot, the chase down block by LeBron. I mean, you can't. It's so many moments during that series that made it incredible. So I'm not taking anything away. Again, I'm with you. I want a Super Bowl, absolutely. But when you got a kid from Northeast Ohio, like you said, and has lived up to every expectation given to him, left the city for multiple reasons, came back to the city, and the letter said, I wanted to win a ring for Cleveland. That's why I came back. And then he delivered. Bruh, you can't write that no better. You
You,
can't you
no,
can't
you
write that
can't.
no better.
You can't. The script was right there, man. And like I said, the Browns, man, they always won. I don't know about you. I feel like the Guardians owe me a World Series way more than the Browns owe me a Super Bowl. Cause like when me and you was kids, right? Like 95, I vaguely remember
Oh,
95. But as a young man, my mother was strict. You can't really stay up all night watching these sports. And so these little special occasions that I got the opportunity to stay up and watch, we was getting our ass kicked. 97 in particular, right? And then you go back to just 2016. Somebody in the comments just said, I need the triple crown. I need the triple crown too. The Guardians have been there, so they've been so close
they've been
on too
close.
many different occasions for us not to
They've been
deliver
close.
a World Series. But I ain't trading that 2016 title for a damn thing. Just like I ain't trading this fan base that we got here for a damn thing. This has been another episode of the Ultimate 216 Show, brought to you by the Living for Weed podcast. Again, new episode out. It dropped yesterday. It's called Something Greater Than Me. Make sure you check that all out. Until next week, man, make sure y'all be great, spread love. Remember, being great come with a price, and spread love is priceless. For Cecil, I'm Earl of Pearl. We are out. Peace. That was